coming in with some new NCM hip hop today for you.
Do the WAP with it. Let me do the WAP.
Well, used to call that the prep back in the old day. Yeah. It's all right there, man.
Yes, sir.
That's all right, man. I mean, that's pretty cool, man. You got these NCM artists, man, or whoever makes this up, man. It's like, yo, some of these joints definitely better than what's out here today.
Yeah, that was nice. I was feeling that.
All right. All right. So, party people, you can do the introduction this week. Now, knock yourself out, brother.
Well, welcome to the Underway Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Don 100% Anderson, and I am glad to be with you all again this Wednesday evening. And my co-host, all the way from Buffalo, New York,
the golden voice, the people's choice, Mike Hicks, everybody. How's it going?
Chilling, man. It's good, man. I'm just coming off of my 53rd birthday, so I want to thank everybody out there for the birthday shout-outs. I appreciate y'all. Wise
Happy
man
birthday,
once
brother.
Appreciate you, partner.
No doubt.
A wise friend of mine once told me, a wise man once said, don't count the days. Excuse me, don't count the years, count the days. So I thank God for each and every one of my days, man. So including this day, you know what I mean? So
absolutely. This is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it.
Come on now. Don't keep going now. We're gonna pass the plate on you now. You sound like you might have a message on you, brother.
I put a chicken bone in it like on Coming to America. I ain't got no money. That boy good.
Yeah,
hey, before we go on, man, have you ever seen the movie Tropic Thunder?
I didn't, man. I got to see that though. That's with Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah, man. When he was when he did a form of blackface, his character in the movie was an Australian actor who wanted to play a black sergeant in the Vietnam flick. So he underwent this skin pigmentation operation, dude. And I got to tell you, when you use the term blackface, of course, what we know, from the black and white films and, just the mockery of our people and things like that. This role, dude, it did not offend me at all. He was that good in it, man. He was because the summer job I told you about, man, we do all these movie quotes. And the one dude, Jose, was like, hey, you ever seen Tropic Thunder? I said, yeah, I seen it years ago, but I couldn't remember everything. But man, dude, you gotta see it, man. It wasn't insulting at all. I think he did a good job. It was funny. He was funny in it, so he had some of the stuff down, like the vernacular and things like that. It wasn't coonish or nothing like that. It was pretty funny, man. So yeah, the one time they were marching through the jungle and he said, we gonna stock, and this is how he used to talk. And this is Robert Downey Jr., dude, right? So he's like, hey, we're gonna set up right here. Look here. Before this little war broke out, you boys gonna be in for a little treat. I used to be a saucier down in San Antonio. I bet you I can collar up some of them greens, get some crawfish out the patio, get some crab apples for dessert. So the black character was like, that's how we all talk. So the one black dude who was actually a black dude in the movie cast was a rapper. Dude named Brandon Jackson. You remember the actor Brandon Jackson? He was the skinny dude, young dude that was in what was the joint with Bow Wow? Lottery Ticket.
Yeah, that was his boy.
Yeah. Brandon Jackson was in Tropic Thunder as well. So he was the actual black actor who was a rapper named Alpa, ALPA Chino, CHINO. So his rap name was Al Pacino. So yeah, you got to see it, man. And for the folks out there who hadn't seen it, it's a very funny movie, older movie. But yeah, I just thought of that, man, because I think I had to share that with Don. He's got to see that. You got to see it, bro.
Yeah. Well, speaking of movies, me and my wife had a chance to go see Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer. We got a chance to see that on. Saw that on Monday.
How was it?
It was good, man. But that joint's long though. Make sure you're well rested. Make sure that you ain't got nothing planned for the rest of the day because we went in that joint about 1:50. We came out that thing about 5:30. So it's a long
So y'all,
flick.
y'all did a part-time job in that joint.
Yeah, it's long. It was good though, very
Wow.
good. And as somebody said, I heard it said today, yeah, it makes sense to go see that again because there's just going to be some things that you miss. You
This is
know,
one of
some
those movies. Yeah,
yeah,
I got
yeah.
you. I got
There's
you.
there's some historical things that happen in it that you'll miss. I mean, some historical people in it you might miss.
Okay.
So but yeah, it was very good though, very well acted. And speaking of, Robert Downey Jr. was phenomenal. I expect him to get supporting actor a nomination for that. He was phenomenal. And
You know what's even more phenomenal, dude?
what's that?
For him to have the comeback he has.
Yeah,
I mean, because that's that dude. I mean, when he was in the throes of drug addiction, big time, once upon a time, and uh, I don't know how it works in Hollywood, man, but a lot of times they'll throw you away. When you are deep in the throes of addiction or alcoholism or whatever it is, they'll get rid of you, man. So for him to come back like that, uh, and I think Iron Man was the thing that supplanted him. Just put him right in the middle of Hollywood, dude. So he was an immovable force at that point, and he got his stuff together. I guess he's clean now, family man, and hey, man. He's always been one of my favorite actors. One of his best roles was Less Than Zero. Do you remember that movie from
oh
back
yeah,
in the 80s?
that was depressing, bro.
Oh,
He was
yeah,
depressing in
man.
that joint.
He was, but
He
you know what?
was.
I mean, that
Woo.
was art imitating life, man, at that time for him.
Yeah,
So it was classic. It's one of those ones that if I got a couple of hours, ain't nothing happening. If it's on, I'll watch it along with Caddyshack, stupid stuff. If I
it's
got the
crazy.
time, I'll sit there and watch it.
It's funny you say Caddyshack. That's one of the movies I gotta watch. There are some movies that are super popular. I've never seen them. I gotta watch that. I know it's on. I think it's on Netflix now. I gotta check that out.
That's un-American to even say that
I
on
know
this
it's
side.
crazy, bro. I gotta watch it.
Rodney Dangerfield was a cold fool in that joint. Rodney was awesome in that, man. Everybody
Yeah,
was great.
I
Yeah, so
de-
you got to check it out.
yeah, I definitely gotta add that. I'm gonna definitely check it out. But this back to Oppenheimer right quick. The
Hmm.
dude that is the star of that is a guy named Cillian Murphy, and he was excellent.
Hmm.
Um, I think he's in a show called Pesky Blinders. I think it's called.
Mm.
Um, but he was good. This lady Emily Blunt played his wife. She was fantastic, and
Okay.
she's a well-known actress. Man, she basically was just chilling in the background until they needed to call her off the bench. It was like calling like Pippen off the bench or something. He was
Right.
phenomenal.
Right.
Rami Malek, the guy that won an Oscar for playing Freddie Mercury.
Yeah. Yeah.
Matt Damon was in it. He was excellent. Josh Hartnett. I thought this guy retired. I looking at the movie. I was like, yo, is that Josh Hartnett? Yeah, I looked at the it was
Josh
him.
Hartnett.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
That's what I thought. And
What was he? What was he? What was he popular for? What movie was he?
oh man, he was in a
That's some.
band. He was in that movie with Ben Affleck, Pearl Harbor, if you remember.
Yes.
The big
Yeah.
budget.
When they fought,
Yep.
They had. Yeah. Okay. Yep. Josh Hartnett. Yeah. Wow, man.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
And
Okay.
then also Gary Oldman.
My man.
My
My
favorite
man.
role?
The Professional.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Gary Oldman was cold in that movie with that Quentin Tarantino flick. The Quentin Tarantino flick. You know what I'm talking about? With my man Christian Slater in it.
Yeah, and it had James Gandolfini in it.
Yeah. Gary Oldman playing.
Christopher Walken was in it.
Gary Oldman, he played the part of the pimp.
Yeah, yeah. He was.
I can't think of it.
Dreadlock. What was the name of that movie, man? Ooh wee. Okay, it'll come to us, man. It'll come to us. But yeah, oh yeah, that was a great, great movie, man.
Yeah, he was phenomenal in that, man.
I'm upset. I don't have it, man. Okay. But anyway, yeah. And The Professional when he was
True Romance.
True Romance. Thank you. Yes, absolutely, man. Yeah, that's when Dennis Hopper told Christopher Walken about his Hereditary.
Told that man he said says here, what is it? The Moors conquered Sicily.
Right.
I've been telling Italian dudes that I work with. I used to tell them that all the time. The Moors conquered Sicily, right?
That's right. See
You
your
know what that
great
means,
great
right?
great yeah, your great 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 grandmother getting, anyway. But anyway, yeah. So yes, true romance. Yeah, but Gary Oldman, like I said, he was in was that Bram Stoker's Dracula. He was good in that.
Yep.
But yeah, he was great. And like I said, the professional when they went for looking for my man, he's like, bring me everyone. You want me to get everyone? Everyone. Just looking crazy and drugged out. And yeah, man, Gary Oldman, he's definitely underrated. Underrated actor, man.
Yeah, great character actor, man. He can pretty much
Yes.
play anything, man.
No
So
question. No
so
question.
yeah, we did that, and then last night my college daughter took me to see the Phillies game last night. So that was cool, man.
Mm.
And I was expecting like I thought we was gonna be up in the bleachers. I told her I thought we was gonna be in the Bob Euchre seats. Not that she knows who Bob Euchre is, but those people that are our age know who Bob Euchre is and know that Bob Euchre said I thought I was gonna be in the front row, and
I'm
he was
supposed
all
to be in the front row.
right.
Yeah,
He was
he's like,
over
yeah,
in the
get up out
last
of
seat.
here. Get out of here. Right. Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
But baby girl
Bob
had
Euchre.
us. Yep, baby girl had us on the first baseline.
I
So
saw,
lower
yeah, you
level.
shared it with us. You shared it with us last night, man. Nice seats.
Yeah, it was
Nice
awesome.
seats.
I was like,
You
wow,
catch
thank
you a
you, honey.
foul over there. You better be ready because it's coming right off that wood where y'all was sitting at.
Yeah, what's funny? And that was funny. I gotta share this. She knows that she before we went to the game, she said, "Now, Dad, you gotta be careful because the foul balls might come near us." So every now and then she would tease me. She'd look up like this. Here comes Dad, and have me like I'm looking like have me like PTSD up in that. I'm like, come on, man. So yeah, she got me a
Payback,
few
man.
times. Yeah.
Payback from when we
I,
used to get them all the time when they were
oh
little.
yeah, she got me good,
Yeah,
man. She definitely
that's
got me
awesome.
good. But yeah, all
Yes,
in all, man, it was a good weekend, man. Had a good time, and just cool, man, to celebrate 53rd year, brother. And when you get anytime you get to your birthday, first thing I'd like to do, or something I like to do, is reflect back over my life and how far God has brought me. And hey, don't take it for granted. To anybody out
no,
there, don't dread getting older. It's just part of it. Like we've been saying, it's just part of life, man. Some people didn't get a chance to get here, so we got to be grateful that we're here.
no question about it, man. I second that emotion, brother. Absolutely. Um, my week so far, like I told you, I had this week off because I got the week right before school commences, and this Saturday, my wife and I are going to a union sponsored school giveaway, backpacks, things like that. We're going to volunteer to set up, things like that. Uh, Help with directing the kids, man. They're giving away free haircuts, they're doing free hair braiding, things like that. So, and it's sponsored by all the unions, UAW, Steelworkers, my wife's union, CWA, mom's old union, SCIU, so all of the unions are coming together for this sponsored event to, send the kids back to school right.
That's what's up, man.
Yeah.
Good deal,
So we'll be
man.
doing
Good
that.
deal.
We'll be doing that, man. Yeah. Other than that, I've been hitting the gym every day, bruh. And you talking about that aging thing, bro. I'm telling you. I'm just you feel good when you're doing it. And then like what I've been doing that I hadn't been doing like, in prior weeks is now that I have the time, I'm off work. After the workout, jump in the shower real quick and go hit the jacuzzi and then the steam room. So that absolutely zaps whatever power you had left out of you, man. So I feel pretty good, but I'm just kind of, I'm really relaxed, man. So yeah,
It's
it's a good
good.
way to kind of go into the jungle. You know what I mean? No pun, no offense to my children in the Buffalo public school system, but y'all know good and well it's still gonna be summerish when school starts, and it's gonna be there's gonna be chaos. You know how it's, man, trying to organize stuff. It's
Mm,
gonna be chaos, man. So I'm ready. So I think I had to get some workouts in before I go in there and you know,
that's
speak to the children of the village again.
that's what's up. That's what's up. So that's what we're gonna be talking about tonight. That's the show tonight, y'all. We're gonna call this one Back to School. So we're gonna
Oh,
talk
before we
tonight.
go on, Don, before we
Sure,
go on,
sure.
can we share with the party people that this will be the last show between Mike and Don in which it's just Mike and Don. We're going to start having guests from now on. So, next week, for all you football fans, we got a real treat for you. We got a treat for going. Tell them, Don, what we got for them, for the party
Oh
people, the
man.
football lovers out there. Tell them what we got.
You know, you listen to the Steve Harvey show, you know how he be talking about like his nephew Tommy and how nephew Tommy can sometimes get ignorant. Listen, I'm not gonna say that about our boys. But all I'm gonna say is y'all need to tune in to the football show. It'll be worth your time. Y'all have a good time. I don't know if y'all gonna learn much about the teams, but y'all gonna definitely you're gonna have a good time. You know what I
It's
mean?
gonna be a cast of characters, y'all.
Cast
A
of
cast
characters
of characters.
from all over the country. So we're gonna make sure that everybody's represented, whether you're all the way out west with your teams, or if you're all the way back east like us with your teams, or even if you're in the central part of the country, you're gonna be
Down
represented.
south.
Dirty
South
South is represented. Listen, we got you. We got you covered. Everybody's covered, and these brothers know the game, and they certainly know the game of football. So you'll enjoy it, and we're looking forward to getting our brothers on and having at it. So we're definitely excited about that.
Absolutely. And we plan on having guests more often. I know you probably can't get enough of our beautiful faces, but we figure we want to stretch this thing out a bit. So we'll have some guests and different topics, different people in the communities and what they do and what they do to enrich our communities and things like that. So we're looking
Hmm.
forward. So we're stretching out just a bit. So yeah, these two pretty faces will not be the only ones you see on future shows.
Yeah. But at least not, every week. Every now and then it'll
Not
be
every
us,
week.
but you know how we do.
Yeah, right.
But just as Mike is talking about that, also I think it's important to let you all know, man. Listen, it's cool that we can come on here and talk a little bit about everything. So some podcasts they just straight sports, some are straight this or that, but we feel like we are able to come and just have a conversation. We feel like we're inviting you into our living room or the family room where I'm at. Come on down, pull up a chair, listen to us, chat it up, and hit us back in the comment section. Oh, and I didn't already say it. I wouldn't say it, but I'm gonna say it again because I think I forgot to say it. Make sure that you follow us on YouTube. Okay, subscribe and hit the bell. Hit the bell. There's a bell that should be on your screen. Make sure you hit that bell to that time. Every time we drop a new podcast or a new episode, it'll pop up. And also, you can check us out on Spotify. Please check us out on both.
And
like, share, follow, subscribe.
There we go. I ran out of fingers, so I couldn't do all.
Share with a friend. Please share with a friend. I think we have 44 or 45 subscribers. So I need y'all to start sharing the podcast. If you dig it, share with your friends. Say, yo, check these two brothers out. Boy from Buffalo, dude from Philly. Check them out. You'll like them.
And it's something for everybody. It's
something for everybody.
Something for the ladies, something for the gentleman, something for the sports fan, the activist. We got it all. We got it all. You want to talk about, like I said, we'll take suggestions in the comment section of what you'd like us to talk about. Hey, we don't have a problem with that at all. So yeah, just help us get this out there, and we'll definitely whatever topic, man, that you put down there that we feel is, man, worthy of it, we're gonna jump on it. And there's no problem about it.
While Mike is saying that, a topic came to my mind. Denzel is dropping the Equalizer 3. So in a future show, I was thinking, being that Mike is a thespian and actor, we could do a Denzel Washington top 5 movie episode. So that's something we can think about doing in the future.
So you're talking about movies, right?
Movies, brother.
Like the movies that I was in. The movies I was in? Not everybody else, right? You're talking about the movies I was in, right? You like those movies? Did you like them? Did you like them?
There you go.
All right, there we go. So yeah, and then we got to end it with the Denzel Pucker. He's got strong in his. I saw one on the trailer. He did a Denzel Pucker.
Yeah. Not to get sidetracked, but I wonder, does he go in knowing that he's going to do that? You think?
No,
you're an actor. Now. How do you know?
Yo, he's old, man. He's old now. That's something he does. That's a grandfather face. That's an old unk face. You understand what I'm saying? Denzel. If you go back to some of his earlier movies, it's not present. But like I said, once you start getting a little long in the tooth, he'd give you that line, man. And I think it probably adds for a dramatic effect as well because he is a thespian. But that's his trademark,
But he always do say, "Get your effing hands off me." I don't care if it's Glory. I don't care if it's Hurricane, Malcolm X, Training Day. He gonna get that in there. Get your effing hands off me.
Yeah.
That and the throat punch. he got them on lock.
Oh yeah. He's definitely more lethal than Bruce Lee with that joint. No question about it. No doubt.
That makes you think he must be doing that in real life, dude. That must be his move.
doing that to producers. That's why you never heard any scandals about them.
Mhm.
You took pictures of me? That was me? You
Mhm.
took a picture you took a picture of me? Really? That was me in a restaurant without my wife? That's not my wife. That's my wife, that's my cousin. See, you trying to mess something up. You know, so yeah, Denzel, man, love him. Can't wait to see. I think I may go to the movies to see that. The first two Equalizers, I waited until they came to the TV.
Mhm.
But this one, I think I may go see it, man.
Yeah, why not? You could be a date night or
Mhm.
something. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, if I keep my wife awake, but that's another story. Anyway.
Hey, listen, I would it. So, like I said, y'all, it's back to school season, and
Mhm.
for me, back to school don't mean what it used to mean. Obviously, I'm not in school, but I know to my partner over here, back to school means a whole different thing because as some of you may or may not know, Mike is a school teacher. So, you know,
Assistant. Assistant.
school teacher
But
assistant.
not but nonetheless, yeah, I'm in the trenches.
He's in the
And
trenches.
yeah, they see me every day. So I think that's my greatest contribution to my community is to be visible. And yeah, you
So,
can see the impact immediately. You really
so,
do.
so let's start there, Mike. Tell the people what exactly you do.
All right, I'm a teacher's aide or assistant. Uh I usually work in one particular classroom, but if a teacher is missing or they need an aide or an assistant, they'll assign me to another room, another grade, things like that. So being around the school and being visible in the school and being one of the very few black men in the school, I think I enjoy the bouncing around more than anything, because it was the one time this past school year. I'm coming around the corner. There's a bunch of 7th and 8th graders, right?
Mhm.
So one of them goes, "Yo, here come the cyborg, man. Here come the cyborg." You know, right? So
Talking
I
about
had to
you.
stop. Yeah, man. I'm like, "Oh, excuse me,
Wow.
young blood." I said, "What you call me a cyborg for?" He said, "Man, you come around there, man. You ain't smiling, man. You just appear out of nowhere, man. We don't know what's up with you." I'm like, "Look, man." I said, "We'll talk." I said, I'm from the same, streets and things you're from, man. So we'll talk one day when we get some chance, come see me. You know what I mean? So even just putting that invitation out was cool, man, because some of the young men got to know who I am, where I'm from. And like I said, my background is not dissimilar to theirs at all. So I think a lot of times where there's a gap is when adults, not so much children, when adults don't take the time to introduce themselves to kids. We now know we have a job to do, but there's still a human side to it that some of these kids need to, be introduced to. And a lot of them embrace it, man. Once you tell them, like I said, man, I'm a referee football, used to play football, all that stuff that the inner city child does. I've done that, and of
Mm.
course, as we talked about before, with the absentee of positive, male, role models, excuse me, in their lives. I think it's important for me to, like I said, just make myself as visible and as accessible to them as possible.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm just gonna throw these names at you. To you, they're not gonna mean nothing, but to me, Mr. Bailey, Mr. Noble, uh, Mrs. Rivers, these are all teachers' aides that I used to have in my classroom, and they still ring true to me today. Now, Mrs. Rivers and Mr. Bailey, Mrs. Rivers was a sister, okay, and we love Mrs. Rivers. What we loved the most about Mrs. Rivers as a teacher's assistant is that every now and then she would bring her daughters in, Sharon and Sheila. We love to see Miss Rivers bring in Sharon and Sheila Rivers. Sharon and
Never mind
Sheila,
the educational aspect. No
yeah, no, we didn't
educational
care.
aspect.
Nah. So Sharon and Sheila, if you're out there listening, shout out to you. We appreciate it when your mama used to bring you all to school. But on a serious
All
note,
right.
Miss Rivers was so great to us, man. It's like
Yeah.
I don't care. And as I've said in the past, I was in the kind of classroom. What was it called? Like not alternate at this time. It wasn't alternate education. They called it special ed, but really they were
Hmm.
just for kids that were hyperactive. They had to separate us, I guess, so other kids could get their learning in. But anyway,
Basically, misdiagnosed children.
right.
That a classroom full of misdiagnosed children. Because not to cut you off, brother, but in the school system, particularly with our black males, you understand that's the first thing they do, as opposed to a Mr. Hicks who's in the school, where they can say, "Mr. Hicks, would you mind talking to so and so?" See, that's the role that I want to fill. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm no psychologist, I'm no school counselor, but I am a black man, okay, who's been a black boy before. Okay, so a lot of times, uh, I just say, look, if you have an issue with so and so, let me know when we can talk to him. I'll find out what's happening just to me. You okay? And whatever I get out of that, I may or may not share that with you. But don't just throw this dude in special ed because obviously his grades don't reflect that. You understand? He's probably got an anger issue or he's probably got a hunger issue. You understand what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
there's so many things that the school system does not dig into because, first of all, it's not enough staffing and they don't have enough time for every individual case. But yes, back to what you were saying, bro. I just wanted to say that all our kids who have been put in special ed are not special needs children. Okay.
That's
So go
very
ahead.
true. That's 100% true. And just continuing on, yeah, Miss Rivers was she was great to us, and like to what Mike is saying, she never judged us, and I always feel like Miss Rivers, she was just used to dealing with us. You could tell, obviously, she was a black woman, so none of the
Right.
kids in the class intimidated her. Okay, none of
Nah.
us like made her scared, and she never came off like she was scared or didn't know how to deal with. She just give you that look. Once she give you that look, it was like your mama giving you a look or your auntie or something. You was like, okay, Miss Rivers gave us a look. We got to chill out, and everybody
That's right.
respected her. Because we
Hmm.
felt like and we knew that she loved us and respected us. We gave that back to her. To this day, I always appreciated that. And Mr. Bailey, we had Mr. Bailey when I was at the career joint. When I had shop or not shop, had a trade in the morning and in the afternoon we went to school and did education. But anyway, Mr. Bailey, another brother. First of all, he knew all my peoples. He knew my uncles, he knew my aunts. So I knew with
Hmm.
him, I had to act right around him because I knew,
He had a direct line
yeah,
to
exactly.
reporting.
He
He
had
didn't
a,
have to go through the administrative aspect of it. He can just pick up the phone and be like, "Man, your nephew's acting a cold fool today."
yeah, absolutely. You're
That was
100%
worse than
correct.
anything. That's worse than anything, bro.
And his mother. I forgot to mention her too, Mrs. Bailey. His
Mhm.
mother, Mrs. Bailey, and I'm struggling to remember her first name, Mrs. Bailey. I forgot. It'll come to me. Mrs. Bailey was another aide. She was an aide on the academic side, and she was older. Obviously, that was his mother, so she was an older woman. And another one didn't play. You know what I mean? She gave you that look.
Mhm.
Listen, if kids are getting out of line, and that goes back to I think what we were talking about last week when we were talking about diversity. If
Mhm.
you really want to see some of these kids, do better in school, you got to start having more people that look like them in school, man. You know what I
Gifted
mean?
people with their experiences, not only looking like them, but living like they lived and being able to relate to having a certain anger about a father not being there or mom not making enough money or mom not being home because she's got to work to support. You know what I mean? All these things they dredge up anger and frustration in a child. And the majority of a child's day is spent in school. Therefore, that's where you can act out the most, man. And it's a cry for help in a lot of instances. So yeah, I think what you said is dead on, man. Without that diversity, man, you have a communication gap, and that's where it gets very dangerous and very cloudy.
100%, man. And people sometimes I feel like because what's the word? Affirmative action is getting a bad name now. I'm not
Hmm.
necessarily calling for affirmative action. What I'm calling for is diversity. You have to have it in school. Kids
Hmm.
need to know and need to see other
Hmm.
people in that setting that look like them. So, that's something that I think about when it comes to, going back to school. It's funny because there's a little bit of controversy. Local school around here, um, they actually hired the new principal was his dad was the principal of the same school up here, Coatesville. I talk about a lot. Uh,
Yeah.
the guy that got the job now, principal, his dad was the dad when I graduated high school back in 1988. So he got the job. So it's almost like a lot of people are looking at it like, it's almost like an entitlement program. Why did he deserve to get this job? Was he the most qualified person? And it seems like he's always been able to get the best jobs in the school district. He went from athletic director, he went from being on like the big wig on the school board, and now he's the principal. So it's like it does make you wonder, in a city that's got close to 40,000 people, how is it that this guy is the only one that's qualified? No disrespect to the man, but I mean, it does make you wonder. It does make you wonder.
Well, that's part of the game, man. Nepotism still runs rampant in a lot of high paying, high profile positions throughout the society. You know, there's no need to wonder how somebody got a certain position,
Hmm.
when you're talking about qualifications and things like that. Now, don't get me wrong. You got the qualifications. Okay, you have just as much right to that job as someone with similar qualifications. But at the same time, some stuff is just obvious. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? We know how you got here, bro. So at least have some humility with it. Don't just, floss it in front of people's faces like that, because I think it's all in how you walk in these positions that people will disregard how you got them. As long as you treat people fairly, treat people with respect, you know, um, the, what I've always looked for, Don, is for any high ranking position is when we're in a setting where a lot of people are, I look at how you treat the help versus how you treat your colleagues. You understand? I sit there and observe that, because if you go over to the janitor and ask him his name, shake his hand, and thank him for his job, you know what I mean? He's as important as the CEO you just talked to. So that's how I judge people. How you treat what's deemed the least important person in that room. And that's how I've always done it, man. My daughter and wife always accused me of, being able, if it was a fly on the wall and it looked like it was by itself, I go talk to it. I said, but at the same time, you never know whose path you're crossing if you don't communicate with them. And I treat everyone with kindness and dignity and respect because I expect it in return. If I don't get it in return, you already know what it's going to be next time we see each other. You understand? I'll ignore you. I don't have any, because how you first impressions are last impressions, right now.
Oh, 100%.
Usually how you meet somebody, that's who you met.
Hmm.
That's who you met. So if that person is undesirable at my advanced age, there's no need for me to, screw face them or nothing like that, man. I keep it moving.
Hmm. Hmm.
And then when you ask me, because that's what happens a lot of times, people expect you to cater to them, but when you don't, they seek you out. Is there a problem? I spoke to you. I'm like, yeah, well, let's talk over here. Let me go. So I'll read them the riot act very classily, very quietly, to let them know I didn't appreciate how you, treated me or treated someone else that I observed how you treated them. So yeah, the nepotism thing and all that. I think we all forgive it, man, if we're dealing with just a good person in general. Because if you get hooked up, you get hooked up.
Hmm.
You understand what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
that's true.
If I was your brother, Don, and I was in a position to give you something, hey man, and I'm supposed to give it to you. I'm your family,
Hmm.
especially if you're qualified. Not just because. I'm not just gonna give cousin Junebug the athletic director position. I'm not doing that. But if you're qualified, and I'm in a position to help my people, my fam, you get that. Now, how you carry out that job and that mission is on you.
And I think what you said about what you were just talking about, how basically giving people that respect, that's something that I know you going back to school, that's the way you're going to be treating the kids. And
Absolutely.
that's what makes a good teacher, teacher's assistant, teacher's aide, however we want to look at it. Going in there and giving kids their respect. Treating them with respect. Even if they got a bad reputation, like say you might have a teacher or one of the teachers, whoever, they be like, Miss Yo Hicks, that one right there, he's a this and that. You know what I mean? And I know when I was in school, they probably was saying that about me. So it's like your reputation kind of precedes you.
Absolutely.
Now, as a teacher, it's your job, or a teacher's aide, somebody there, it's your job not to carry what somebody else says about that person. You got to be able to form your own opinion based upon your experience. So, in other words, don't start, as soon as you meet the kid, oh, yeah, I heard about you. I heard what you was.
Worst thing in the world to say to somebody. Worst thing in the world to say to somebody. You cannot defeat, the dragon. By putting yourself out there first, because that's what you're doing when you say things like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if it's Donald Anderson and you come up to me, I'm like, how you doing, young man? What's your name? Donald Anderson. All right, nice to meet you, Donald. All right. And I'm gone. I'm not gonna sit there and say, oh, you the one. See, because what you do, especially with kids who are mischievous, you empower them because they go back and tell their crew, yeah, man, guess what he said. You see what I'm saying? So when you act like that child is no different than an honest student in the class, man, that's where the mystery, that's where you have the upper hand. That's where the mystery comes in. They're like, how come this dude ain't say that about me or whatever? So yeah, it's all psychological, man. If you can't outthink a child, you have no business in the school system.
Dude, but it's funny you say that, and it seems so common sense what you just said. But I can just remember different teachers Like when I go back to my elementary school, I remember Mr. Peitzman with his old tight behind high shorts that he didn't need to be wearing in school. I just remember how this guy used to be. He always had like an attitude. For some reason, these gym teachers were the worst, man. I don't know if they were like frustrated ex-jocks or what. But they
Was he a
always
white
had a,
man?
huh?
Was he
He's a
white?
white dude, yeah. Big old, Fu Manchu
Because
mustache.
he hated his job, man, and he hated where he was doing his job. Let's think
Possibly.
about that. No. That's more than likely what it is, bro. Because here, like here in Buffalo, it's probably the same way in Philly or any urban area. You serve a certain amount of years in a school, and then you can move to the outer suburban districts. So you're talking about the majority of these people, like we talked about last podcast, who don't live in the city,
Hmm.
who don't deal with us, who don't converse with us, who don't socialize with us. So to them, this is the worst job in the world, coming and teaching these kids.
Mm.
You understand? Now, me and you look at that job and it's like, gym teacher, you kidding me?
Yeah.
Throughout, you see what I'm saying? Because
Exactly.
we know how to see, man, please, man, go get that bucket of balls, man. Y'all go play some pickup, some kickball, whatever. I'm over here in the cut. Okay? Just behave yourselves. Dude, gotta be one of, yeah, like I said, they wearing shorts in school every day, all
Hmm.
year long. What you got to what you what you got to complain and frown about, man? But that's somebody who hates where they work and may even hate the people that teach.
Yeah, this was
I'm,
back in the
I'm
day,
telling you.
man. Back in the day, in the 70s, wearing them nut huggers. He was an upset dude all the time. I was like, look at this guy, man. And the
You got to
rumors
take into
about,
account what I said, Don. You have to
yeah.
take that into account. You're not blaming anybody for anything, but of
Mm-mm.
course, I see teachers every day. I see teachers that hate hate teaching, and they
Wow.
shouldn't be in there.
That's
They shouldn't be
crazy.
in there, man. Are the
No.
kids off the hook? Yes. But you're the one with the more than likely a master's degree. And when you go into teaching, you have to do critical thinking classes, psychology classes, things like that. If you didn't learn anything, if you cannot outthink a preteen, go get you a job somewhere else, man. It's a
Mhm.
fact. It's a fact. So, do they frustrate me? Beyond belief. But I would never show them my trump card. I would never ever show them what I'm holding in my hand. You understand? Because some of the, man, let me tell you, like, okay, now this is some special ed behavior. Okay, now listen to me. Listen.
No offense,
So,
y'all.
yo, so listen. I'm in this one classroom, right? And the teacher was wonderful, wonderful teacher, and she was a saint because I was in a class of behavioral problem sixth graders. Okay, so smart kids. They did the schoolwork, but they had behavioral issues, anger issues, things like that. So there's one kid I will not name, of course, because I can't do that. Kept getting out of his seat, and and it might be a medical kind of thing. You know what I mean? Just getting
Mm,
out of his seat, hyperactive, boom, boom, like you just said. You know what I
mm.
mean? So he's getting up and he's doing the gritty, the the
Mm. The
Justin
dance.
Jefferson dance
Yeah.
all through the classroom, right? Like around desk and listen, special ed behavior, right? So I'm like, okay, Mike, you got to tackle this correctly. I said, hey man, come here for a second, man. He gritties all the way over to me from across the classroom. I say, my man, I'm gonna need you to sit down. I finished my work already. I said, that's cool. I said, I'm gonna give you some more work. He looked at me, man, goes over to his desk, goes to sit down, Don. I'm following over there with the new paperwork for the new, schoolwork.
Mm.
Starts saying, and I quote verbatim, I'm like, yo, man, sit down. Spot him, got him. Spot him, got him. Spot him, got him. Spot him, got him. I'm like, what am I supposed to do with that, man?
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? So, and I'm like, spot him, got him. What is he talking about? So, of course, I had to come back and ask Princess. Princess, what and who is spot him, got him? She pulls up this video. Matter of fact, do yourself a favor and pull this video up after we're done. It's this rapper, man. Just a cold pickaninny, man. Got like 5 braids, mouthful of gold teeth. Don't know what he's saying, but that's his name. Spot him, got him. And this dude was saying that, and I'm just like,
Why?
this is our future, man. You know what I mean? But of course, you can't lose your cool, you can't lose your composure. So eventually he sat down and started doing his work because I had to outthink him. But it's just like, Wow, man. Wow. And it was a classroom full of them, Don.
Mm.
And like I said, the teacher was awesome. She was great. You know what I mean? Because she didn't do a lot of yelling and she knew how to talk. She understood the psychology. I was in there to basically stop fights because they were fighting every day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Anger
Wow.
issues, Don. And two of them were fighting each other all the time. Check this out, Don. They were cousins, first cousins, dude, fighting all the time. So that's the just the one experience, man. I've been in the great classrooms. I've been in, yeah. So I do prefer to be in one school, and I do prefer to float around just to make my presence felt, just so they can get to know who Mr. Hicks is and things like that. So I do enjoy it, man, because I really think this is God's work, man. When you're really trying to change the lives of young people, man. So it was something I always wanted to do, as you know, and I'm doing it, man. So back on Tuesday. Tuesday, I'll be right back at it. I just got my letter in the mail the other day. So I'm going back to the same school. I
That's
guess
what's
I did
up.
such a good job, they sucked me back in. I'm like,
Mhm.
I wanted to go to another school.
Mhm.
So, and I don't know if I told you, the assistant principal is my man from grammar school. So I'm sure he pulls some strings like, get Mike back here. I can't wait till I see him, man. He might get hemmed up. He gonna get hemmed up, man, for real. If you're
So,
watching, I got you, Tam. I'm gonna come to see you.
yeah, but as you were talking, it just brought me back to my own days when I was a kid,
Hmm.
and we had our school principal, Mr. Ernie Faulkner, and Mr. Faulkner had these real thick fingers. And a kid like you just were talking about, anyway, in elementary, I don't know, what grade was this?
Sixth grade.
Okay, Mr. Faulkner was first through fifth. Okay, so Mr.
Hmm.
Faulkner, he would come up behind kids, take one of them big thick fingers. Now you got to remember, this is back in the 70s. He would take one of them big thick fingers, and he would
Pluck,
pluck the man. He would pluck your ear
man.
off your hand.
Yeah, and it was straight violence in them fingers, dude.
Wow, Mr. Faulkner, I hate to laugh. Mr. Faulkner was the most violent dude I've ever seen. I don't know if the guy loved or hated it. I think he actually liked his job because
Yeah,
he used to tear us up, man.
see,
You
that's
hear me?
different. That's different what you talking about because, like I said, he got off
Oh
on.
man.
I just wish somebody acted
Oh
like that. Hey,
yeah.
man,
That's what
I
he
got
did,
these
brother.
fingers ready.
Woo, boy.
Yep, I
And then
got you.
and don't get sent to his office. You guys sent this teacher sent you down there. Oh, he didn't need the paddle. That big old thick hand, he'll get you right over his thing, and he give you the old swat right on that
Hmm.
behind. And he's give it to you too. You hear, Mr. Faulkner? In
But
fact, I
there was
was
a difference, Don. It was a
yeah,
difference. There was a difference because consequence was in the air in your
absolutely.
school.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, bro.
No, you're right, 100%. Because okay, this was back in this. Let's say what I started school in '76. I was in kindergarten. 81, 82. That's when I was around fifth grade. But yeah, I had
Hmm.
him from. I started off at one school. They seen it out. I had the hyperactive problem, so they shipped me off to this other elementary school, East Ward, and that's where I met Mr. Faulkner. Okay, Mr. Faulkner, he was like he. This is back in the day, y'all. I mean, if you got kids nowadays, y'all don't even know how it was back in the day. They used to handle you. You hear him saying it wasn't all this, Jimmy. Let me talk to you, Jimmy. No, no, no. They gonna take you go into the principal's office, and he gonna lay hands on you. Or if you was really bad, they lay that paddle on you. It was crazy. It was crazy.
I
They
know
they
about the
let you have
paddle.
it.
I know about the paddle.
You got the paddle?
What? Like I said, man, my first school, MLK, PS 39, Dr. John Ross Dixon. I believe he was an alpha. I think he was an Alpha Phi Alpha, a fraternity member. So
Mm.
he had a paddle in his office. I believe it was black and yellow, A Phi A, and it had holes in it. And I'm talking about coffee can holes in it. So when he hit you, there was no wind resistance. Wasn't nothing but ass coming through the holes, man. So when he gave you two whacks, and then the school clerk, come here, baby. You go over to the school clerk and get your note telling your parents that you got paddled. They need to sign it, and you bring it back to school. So you know what that means when you get home, right?
Mm. You got it again, probably.
Dude, I got 3 in one day.
Mm.
Got the paddle from Mr. and Principal Dr. Dixon. Go home to my grandmother's house because that was the central pickup location. So my grandmother says, and I wasn't a bad kid, but she would check all the kids. Anybody send something home today? And you better not lie. And I'll be like, just start crying, man, and hand that note to her. Don't cry now. Man, get up there and granny break you off. You over there in the corner. Yeah, right? Can't go outside, none of this.
Mm.
So mom come pick you up. Hey mama, how you doing? How I'm doing. Look at this. She hands the note to mom. Sometimes the ass whooping was at granny. Sometimes it was, she waited till she
Mm.
got but dude, tres, undo trois. I got 3 in one day, man. And guess what? I was fixed after that. Fixed after that.
So you
Did I
only
ever
got
tell you
paddled once.
dude, did I listen once?
Oh, okay.
And I saw Dr. Dixon 40 some years later before he passed away some years ago
Mhm.
at a funeral of a friend of mine's parents who was an educator as well. And I went over to him, dude. He was like 5'9". He was still wide bodied, but I went over to him because dude, when somebody whoop your ass as a kid who looked like Mean Joe Green, you remember that dude. So I went over to him, I said, that's Dr. Dixon. But by then, his face was white, hair was white, beard was white, not his face, black. But yeah, go over to him and said, Dr. Dixon. He goes, yes, how are you, young man? I said, hey, I went to school 39. I was one of your students. He goes, what's your name? I said, Michael Hicks. He goes, I don't remember you, son. He said, that's a good thing. And I'm gonna tell you, dude,
Mhm.
that's a 5'9" man. He's still about 220 pounds, solid rock dude. But he intimidated me. Just right there saying, yeah, that's a good thing I didn't remember your name, son. But that was the respect that I had for this man. I'm a grown man, dude. I had to go approach this dude. So, like I said, when you're in the school system, man, and I'm saying you got to paddle people to get their respect, but when you show a concern for a student, they'll never ever forget that. Even as a little league coach, man, I see some of my players that I, of course, don't recognize now, but they Coach Mike. I'm like, how you doing, man? Coach, I was at inner city, man. We was on 75 pound, using my coach and this and that. And I was like, oh, what's up, young man? So you get to talk to them. So, of course, man, that always makes me feel good, man, that people just come up to you, young people, that you had a part in their lives. It may have been a very minuscule part, but you had a part in their lives, man. And although I've seen some go astray as well, nonetheless, I was still a part of their lives, man. So that makes me feel good. So yeah, I look forward to another year of school, man. If you're talking from the teacher aide perspective, I'm looking forward to it.
Well, there's 3 perspectives. There's a teacher's perspective, there's a student perspective, and there's the parent perspective. I think that we've been talking pretty much about. I think we kind of been talking about teacher and student pretty much
Hmm.
most of this talk here.
Hmm.
I did want to just say this though. Nowadays, you will never be able to do that no more. You do know that Mr. Faulkner could never principal today.
No.
If Mr. Faulkner tried to pluck somebody today, one of 2 things is going to happen. First thing going to happen is, particularly if it's an inner city parent. Well, I don't know if I can necessarily say that. If it's any parent, if you're out in the Bronx and you do it, or if you're in the city to do it, and you got some parents that care, they're more than likely going to come down to the school. Let me tell you something. Even back in the day, all right, this was back in the 70s. We used to have a principal, Mr. Saplee. All right, he thought he put his hands. I want to say the dude's name was Jimmy Carter. Well, no, Jay Carter. We called him. All right, it was either Jay or his brother Jimmy, one of the two.
Hmm.
All I
Hmm.
know is it was a black family, and there was about 12 of them living in a small house. Let me just say that they packed up in that station wagon, and every last one of them was at the school the next day. And
Rolled up.
Mrs. Saplee was hiding under the desk. You hear me? Mrs. Saplee didn't want none of that. All right,
Mm.
they was up in there raising hell. Miss Carter was like, you talking about the grandmom. Her daughter was there, the mother, and then I guess the
Hmm.
rest of them were like siblings and whatnot. But
Hmm.
so that was one of the only times I actually do remember, some parents not going for it. But most of the times, I really didn't see that much pushback. People, it was just a reality back in the day. But I say what I say. Nowadays, they'll try to sue you. Nowadays, they would try to sue the school district. Okay, they write their congressman. You just can't do it anymore. And I don't know if that's good or bad. I don't know if some people swear that corporal punishment is not the answer. Some people think that it is. So, I don't know. I know this though. I can tell you this. I didn't ever want to go back to Mr. Faulkner's office again. I do know that.
There you go. Lesson learned, Don. Lesson learned.
All the teacher had to say is, I'm Donald. I'm gonna send you Mr. Faulkner. I sat there like,
dude, and that's what I'm saying. And what is the harm in that, really, Don? What's the harm in that? Because you look at Donald Anderson so many years later. He's a husband. He's a father, a veteran, full-time job, head of household, dude. Because the discipline and the structure was in place. Now, don't get me wrong. There are sadistic, abusive people. Don't get me wrong. You know what I mean? There are some sick people out here, even in our school systems. But nonetheless, when it's good old-fashioned, what it is just it's a teaching moment. Okay, for every crime, there's a punishment. So basically what that does is basically teach you about society as a whole. If you go out and break the law, man, expect to be dealt with. So it starts at home, then at school. Okay, so if that's drilled enough in you, you know what I'm saying? It's time for you to just be a productive, out of the way, head down, complete your mission citizen. So me, I have mixed thoughts on it. I lean more towards the time in school that that I grew up in, even though I know we're talking maybe a future show about absentee fathers. I had an incident with a teacher in which having a father would have really served me in that situation. Okay, but I didn't have a father to really defend me. I'll give you a short story.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was in school. We talk about busing. Remember we talked about busing when in our private conversation we got bussed out to this school on the other side of town. Anyway, we're in a science class, had a situation come up. I don't know, I can't even remember what it was, but the teacher slapped me in my face, dude. Grown white man. I'm not gonna mention his name.
Oh, my God, I thought it was a woman.
No, a man.
Wow.
But there's a happy ending to this. Well, wasn't happy for him. Anyway, so yeah, so of course I got to go home. I go to the office, this and that, boom, boom, boom. White principal. You understand what I'm saying? And so my mom had to come in because there's no man in my house. So of course, the teacher wasn't disrespectful to my mom, but he kind of blew her off, disregarded her because nothing, you see what I'm saying? There was no consequence to what was going to happen to him. Okay. So anyway, fast forward 30 something years later in my early 20s, right? Stud, I mean, we hanging out on this one strip in Buffalo. Won't even name the strip because I may be tied to this. But anyway, we're on this strip hanging out. And so we're standing out there talking, guys, girls, and I look up the street. It was like, I just look up the street and I see this group, maybe about 6 people coming down. And I see that teacher down. I see him. So don't even tell the crew I'm stepping off from this. I go up to him subtly and I go, "Hey, aren't you so-and-so that used to teach at so-and-so?" I'm smiling the whole time. He goes, "Yeah." Slugged him. KO'd him right there on that strip.
Wow.
Knockout. Right on the button. Right out. Out. Go back to the crew and say, "Let's get the hell on out of here." So that was it for my party night. But yeah, dude. But here's the thing. Now, I had to exact revenge because I didn't have a father in my house. You understand what I'm saying? So
yeah, man.
When I speak on absentee fathers, it's so many roles that we feel in the home, man, as far as protectors of our family, especially of our wives and children.
Absolutely.
And I'll tell you one more story, man, and this is where the pain aspect comes in. And I'm sharing with the party people because we love y'all, man, and we being transparent here. This is about therapy.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you remember, of course you remember. Why would I ask you this? Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You know, West Philly big eared dude from your town. You know who
Sure.
he is.
Will Smith.
Yeah, of course.
I
The
know where you're
slapper.
going too, I think, but go ahead.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. The
Right.
show when Ben Vereen was the absentee father who
Mm-hmm.
came to Bel Air because he was a truck driver, looked Will up and said he would take Will on the road for the summer to hang out with him and catch up. Long story short, for those who haven't seen the episode, he backed out, let Will down, and boom, boom, boom. So now, Don, you know how you now I saw the original episode, man. This wasn't a repeat. So you know how you're watching a TV show and you're on the phone with somebody who's watching the same TV show?
Yeah.
We got a poltergeist moment. You good, man? Did a
Well, I'm
ghost run by you?
hearing footsteps. Go ahead, brother.
Okay. They're here.
Oh, you
Anyway,
do that all the time. Don't even try it.
well, I got different, I got a dog and ghost.
Man, finish your story. I'm listening.
Anyway. So anyway, you know how you're on the phone with somebody watching the same TV show simultaneously,
Mm-hmm.
and you guys are kind of talking, but you're watching the show.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking to this young lady at the time on the phone. So the part that even in syndication and I refused to watch it, the part that ripped my heart out, man, was when he said, "How come he don't want me, man?" At the end, when
Mm.
Doctor, when Uncle Phil was trying to console him. Listen, that was a powerful, powerful line for every black man out here who didn't have a father in his life.
Yeah.
So I'm referring to the young lady because the young lady laughed as Will was crying about that.
Wow.
You understand what I'm saying, man? So
Weirdo. Sorry.
not only that, but not only that, Don, she had a father her whole life, her parents.
Um.
You dig what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So she had no idea of the pain in a statement like that. I told you, man, to this day, at 56 years old, I will not watch that episode, man,
Wow.
because I
Yeah.
have scars that have not healed, man. I will not watch that. So for her to laugh at someone's pain, because not just Will's pain, he was acting because his father was, well, he's a piece of shit, according to Will, but he was in his life. You know what I mean? But nonetheless, my father wasn't. And every black man who didn't have a father in his life, that line reverberates with him. How come he don't want me, man?
Mm-hmm.
So for her to laugh, I was angry, but I wasn't angry at her because she does not know the pain of not having a father.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now we get back to the school thing we're talking about, Don. Undiagnosed conditions. Okay. So if you got a kid that's acting out, man, and he's got in his mind, how come he don't want me? How do you fix that? Mr. Hicks, black men in your school. That's how you fix that. Because he didn't want you, allegedly, we don't know the circumstances, but because he didn't want you, I'm here to love you every day, man. So whatever you need, you come see me. Not financially, but if emotionally, anything you need, come see me. And you know what? At the same time, too, financially, man, school trip or whatever you want to go on, man, you short, whatever it is, man, I'll take care of that for you. Keep your mouth shut because I'm only doing it one time. But like I said, that need to fill that void, again, that's why I do what I do, Don.
And just coming from the other side of it, as a father, and this is a role you played as well, raising your daughter. But I can remember this one time, my son playing basketball in high school. And the crazy part about this is a story that he didn't even tell me about. I went to go pick him up like I usually do, pick him up from practice. I get out of the car, go into the gym. I know the kids that he played with because they're all his buddies. They're like, Mr. Anderson, you won't believe what happened today. I said, what happened? They was like, yeah, they call X. One of the coach called X a faggot. I said, what? He called him a what? Yeah, he called him a faggot because he didn't do this. He didn't run the play this way. I said, okay. I didn't get mad. Well, I was pissed. I ain't gonna lie, but I listened
You
to
didn't
what he
react
said.
at that time.
I asked my son, did he say it? He said he said it. I then walked back to the coach's room. They have this little room, you know how the coaches are. They had a little area that they meet in. They had their own little private room. Didn't knock, just walk right in. I said, Coach, whatever, Coach such and such. My son said that you called him a faggot. Is that correct? I would never say that. I said, half the team is out here saying that you called my son a faggot. You saying that half your team that you coach is lying.
Is lying. They lying.
They're all lying and you're telling the truth. See, he was trying to shield himself from his other little buddy coaches, his old cronies, all right? And all I said, this is that opposite side of the father, the absentee father that show up because they might think because they see a kid of color that his dad ain't gonna be around. You got to let them know I'm gonna be around. I said, listen.
There you go.
I said, if it can be verified that you said, I want you to know I'll be talking to the athletic director tomorrow morning, regardless of whether it's not verified or not. I'm going to be talking to the AD tomorrow morning, just to let you know that. Secondly, if I ever hear you talk about my son like that, say something like that to him again, we're going to have a problem. Then I walked out. That's how you handle that. You know what I mean? So that's what fathers do, man.
But they don't think that our babies have daddies, man. So of course we go back to last week's show when we're talking about myths.
Oh yeah.
Okay. A lot of our babies don't, man. But a lot of our babies do. Okay. Like I said, the reason the school Princess went to was so great is that, man, every parent teacher conference, man, we saw mothers and fathers, whether they was baby daddies, whether they were dating, whether they were married.
Well, listen to this.
Understand what I'm saying?
Tell that story. Tell the people that story about when they tried to tell your daughter to not win or not do as good in her bowling. Now his daughter was like one of the best in the school, the best on the team.
In the city.
And what they tell us
was one of the best in the city.
And you got the dude out here. You tell the people that story still annoys me.
Yeah. So and this was Princess's. I want to say no, not sophomore year because that was COVID. So that was freshman year. So I'm telling my boys about it, my Navy partners that, she out here throwing bombs, strikes, bang, bang, this and that, doing her thing. She's the best bowler in the school, boy or girl. Okay. So coach goes to Princess, not in my presence. She tells me this after I pick her up, that he wants her to kind of back off from being so good because, we want to be able to keep people on the team and we don't want you to show them up. This is a freshman we're talking about, a ninth grader. We had upperclassmen that weren't as good as her. So that's not my problem, coach. So when I heard about it, and I'm like, say what? Yeah, solid. Next time, first match, go up there. Coach, let me holler at you. Hey, how's it going? Not going good. I said, did you tell my daughter to not perform to her fullest capability because the other bowlers weren't as good? I said, man, that's not your job. I said, as a matter of fact, you ain't no kind of coach based on the fact that when you got a stud, you ride that stud. You understand what I'm saying? That great player brings all the other ones with him. I said, so I don't know I don't know why you coaching. I don't think you know what you're doing here. Sophomore year pandemic. Junior year, Mr. John. My man, Mr. John, good teacher, man. Dude about 6'6", big white boy. Can't play no basketball. But anyway, he was a hockey player though. But anyway, he was the coach and he was like, he understood team sports. He was like, yo, y'all ride the coattails of Samaria. This is what we doing. Y'all just filling the gaps. She got the other ones. Just do what you do. Never coach Samaria because guess what? He didn't need to coach her. Never pressured her because he knew she would deliver. Okay, now that's proper coaching. But again, when this dude talking about slack up, I said, man, I didn't raise her to slack up. I raised her to be the best. I said, so I don't know who assigned you as coach, man, but you don't know what you're doing. So me and him didn't speak the rest of the season. Now, ironically, when I became a referee, he works for the Buffalo Schools in the athletic department. you know, hey, how's it going? Samaria's dead, right? Yeah. And just walk right by him, dude. Motherfucker, you don't know what you're doing, man. You understand what I'm saying? But again, daddies, when you got a dad, especially with either child, I don't want to be,
Right.
sexist or nothing, but when a daddy's got a girl, man, you don't touch her. You don't say nothing. You don't say nothing out of pocket. Your boy is your mini me. You got
Mhm.
his back no matter what. That's your man. You know what I'm saying? But your princess, man, I'll tear this building up brick by brick, man. Y'all don't do this right.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, kids, period, man. I just look at it like boy or girl. It don't even matter. I know
Oh no, no,
that.
I'm not saying that, bro. But you know how it is with your girl, man.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
my
your son is, man. That's your ace.
yeah,
That's your
100. I know that.
that's your man. Your
Listen,
princess. Come on, bro.
my son's last football game he played in high school. I never forget it as a senior,
Hmm.
and he played with his cousin.
Mm.
So the coach, him and his cousin, they started all year. So I don't know. The last game, for some odd reason, the coach decides to yo-yo his cousin, who's also a senior, and it's like, so he wouldn't play him. Now think about this: you don't had this kid play all year. His last game, you
Senior
decide,
year.
yeah, you're gonna do him dirty. His very last game this kid's ever gonna play. Man, let me tell you something. My cousin, that's who, it was her son,
Hmm.
his dad. See, the coaches think they untouchable. These football coaches, they down there on
Hmm.
the field. All I know is the
Hmm.
coach is down here calling his plays, doing his little hand signals. He looked to his right. My cousin's dad was right in his face. I ain't never seen nothing like this. Is an all-time moment. Hey, Goose, shout out to you, brother. If you remember this, I know you do.
Shout out, bro.
Shout out to this brother. He said, "What the f you doing, my son?" He said, "What kind of games you play?"
He was
And,
wilding.
yeah, and listen, I was like, "Yo, I nothing I can do." I thought he
I ain't
about
got
to.
nothing to do with
I said,
it.
"This coach about to get knocked out on the
About to get it.
sideline during the game." But
Hmm.
yeah, and you know what? I say all that to say, listen, that's what fathers do, though. You know what I mean? So the reality is, and I'm not sure how he was raised, but I think the idea is, or the response is to being in a situation like Will, when you have kids, don't be like your dad. You know what I mean? You change, you end that cycle. You know what I mean? You change,
Absolutely.
you change your kid, you change their path. You know what I mean? So they can never say my daddy wasn't there. He was always there, or he can always say he was always there for me. That's one thing I let my son know, no matter what. Hey, because I could be
Hmm.
like that too. You know what I mean? I had to step to some coaches during this time. You just have to because, unfortunately, in school, they play a lot of politics. You know that because you're a former high
Oh,
school
no
football player.
question.
You know how the games go.
No question.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
no question
I
about it.
remember one
Yeah.
of the first things I'll never forget when he was in ninth grade. The first thing that came out that coach's mouth, he played favorites. We all looking around like, well, huh?
He
And
said
he,
that?
yeah, but he tried to see, he justifies it by what he says after that. Oh, if you get good grades and you show up on time and you practice and you hustle and man, get out of my face. You meant what
Yeah.
you said when you said
Yeah.
you played favorite.
Yeah.
You a
You gave it
clown.
up. You gave it up
Yeah,
the first time, bro.
yeah.
Right.
You'll play a no talent bum in a heartbeat.
Right.
And I think also there's a hint of racism with that dude too. He lucky I don't put his name out there, but I've elevated myself. I'm not gonna do it to him. But
No.
one
No.
of these old
But
school
yeah.
one of these old
Yeah.
school Italian coaches that think that, it's
Hmm.
still 1960 or 1970.
Right.
You know what I mean? I gotta stop.
Right. And if they give in to today, it's definitely got to be a black person in a skill position. So you
Oh,
got
you
to
know
run the
how,
ball, you got to catch the ball, you got to be a cornerback, you got to be,
right.
so yeah, we understand the deal, man. No question about it. But again, for all the brothers out there, man, who are fathers, you understand what we're talking about.
Yep.
You run through a wall for your children, man. And
Oh
like
yeah.
I said, when someone assumes that your child does not have a father at home, it just angers you even more. But like I said, back to Princess's High School, great school, because they also knew that the Hickses, Mr. or Miss, would show up if there were issues. We'd come up to that joint. And they knew that. So a good school will do whatever it has to do to keep the traffic down from parents who have grievances. So, like I said, that school was great. The administration was cool. Listen, wonderful, man. We were blessed to have her go to the school that she did. A great, diverse school. The teachers were invested. The teacher. But I got one more story for you, Don. How
Mm-hmm.
about this? Parent teacher conference, right? So we're
Mm-hmm.
going to her English teacher, right? So we're standing in line because you know how that goes, man. You got a couple in front of you. You just stand there and wait to speak to teacher next. So the couple before us, they boogie. So it's our turn. Listen to me now. My wife and I step up right in front of the desk, take the two seats in front of the desk of this teacher. So as the teacher telling us how Princess is doing, dude, she did not acknowledge me. She's talking directly to my wife.
Wow.
She introduced herself to my wife, never said anything to me. So as my wife is talking, I'm like, time out. Uh, I said, I'm Samaria's dad. I'm her husband. I'm not a baby daddy, none of that. I said, so for you to sit up here and not acknowledge me, I have a problem with that. Oh, Mr. Hicks, no, 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 no. No. I said, what you did, okay, was something that you're used to doing. I said, but let's understand, Samaria has a father and a mother. Okay, so the next time, if I see you again, if you do not acknowledge me, we're gonna have an issue. Oh, Mr. Hicks, I'm so sorry. I mean, she was definitely, apologetic and things like that. But Don, what I'm saying is the subconscious ignoring of a black man because he can't possibly be the father of this brilliant child. You dig what I'm saying?
Yeah.
She do. When I tell you she did not acknowledge me, Don, she didn't even look at me while
Mm.
she's telling me about Samaria's progress, telling, Kenya about Samaria's progress, did not acknowledge me. I had to stop it. I couldn't do it, man. I couldn't do it. I'm like, excuse me, time the out. Yeah, Dan. So we've done enough damage as black men ourselves. Don't get me wrong. I'm not blaming this on white folks or society or whatever you want to say. No, man, we've done enough damage ourselves to where, like you mentioned in our prior podcast, the bad ones are now they're messing us up. They're messing us up. They're giving us a reputation we didn't earn. You dig what I'm saying? So yeah, it was it was sobering to just see her just really not acknowledge me because it's like this black man can't have anything to do with this. I see so many single mothers come in here. So yeah, man. Yeah, something's got to change now.
Yeah, that's that's crazy but you did the right thing. You stepped to her and that's what you're supposed to do. Let them know.
No question. No
I felt like
question,
I've
man.
been in that position myself sometimes, but yeah, it's just crazy. But it's just the thing about it is, as parents, particularly as fathers,
Hmm.
you let your presence be felt, and you let you
No
know you let
question.
you let these teachers know, let these coaches know, let these hell, if it come down to it, let these students know this is my kid. You're not gonna mess with them because maybe your kid might be out here having to deal with a bully sometimes, and whatever the case may be. You know what I mean? That a father has so many roles, and it's so important, you know,
Yeah.
within a student, in your life. You know what I mean? So,
Right.
he's your protector. You know what I mean? He's your teacher at home, right?
That's right. That's
So,
right. So even like I said with Princess, man, when she was going to this new school, she never caught the bus because we're in a position due to our shifts and things like that we could drive her to school. So pre-pandemic and things like that, you can walk your child into the school, to their classroom and things like that. Ain't nothing like a child getting walked into school by their father.
mm,
Okay, so for the little girls, the boys all know you got a daddy that might put a foot in the ass of a little boy. For all the bullies, they know that there's a daddy that might put a foot in your ass. You understand what I'm saying? So it is so important, and it's such an honor to be a father. And as much as you love, matter of fact, I don't know if you caught me texting earlier. It was Princess texting me from college saying, Dad, I'm going to sleep. A lot of work today. I love you. Texted back, hey kiddo, I love you more. You understand what I'm saying? Nothing besides the love of your wife is better than the acknowledgement that your children love you, depend on you, and understand how important you are to them.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, before we go, speak to what it's like for single mothers out here, because you were in that situation.
Hmm.
Your mom had to step into both roles. So how was that? And you know, speak to that in terms of what that's like for a student.
Okay, for me, we talking about back to school, right, Don?
Yep.
And me being okay, let's say grammar school. Grammar school wasn't too tough because the school I went to was a neighborhood school. That was back when it was neighborhood schooling. So I was in a relatively poor neighborhood. So going back to school was just seeing the friends that you left school, left in June, you see them in September.. That was that. So as time went on, man, and I say that to say this, going to a school where you have the same socioeconomic atmosphere, you don't realize that you don't have money because everybody's in the same boat. Now, the busing thing that you and I had talked about privately, this would occur, when I was maybe in sixth grade. Yes, sixth grade, I got bused to the other side of town, white side of town, and this and that. And this side of town had the place where I retired from, Dunlop. You had the DuPont factory. You had General Motors, things like that. So that was a working class white neighborhood over there we got, bust off to. So um, it was cool for me because I know you talked about busing and you went individually. I was fortunate enough to go with a group of kids from the prior school that I was at. So, it was a kind of a group thing. We went out there together, protected each other, that type of thing, because of course you experience the racism and the unfamiliarity with, the new demographic of people that you go to school with, even more white teachers. I think we had one black teacher when I was in sixth grade, Mrs. Miles. I remember her.
Yeah,
But
one more
yeah,
than me.
there you go. And you went out there solo, so I can't even imagine the anxiety that you dealt with.
Oh, it was crazy.
So, yo, go ahead, bro. Yeah, you give me some of that. Give me an example what you're talking about.
Well, yeah, to what Mike is saying, as I explained to him, in our school district back in the day, everybody basically was together in sixth grade, and then after sixth grade, everybody went to their different middle schools. And as I explained to Mike, I got sent to a middle school where I was pretty much the only black kid in the seventh grade, and so it was difficult. I mean, it wasn't easy, and it's you feel lonely, you feel like you're by yourself, and I didn't have none of the kids from my neighborhood. None of the kids that I actually rode bikes with,
Mm,
play basketball, whatever. None of them were in school with me.
mm,
I'm by myself.
mm,
And none of these new kids really, I don't really felt like made a great effort to get to know me. It was some teasing going on. It was some crazy talk going on, obviously. And the reality is, I don't know how they expected me, a kid that was already a little hyperactive, to just walk that off. It's hard to walk off, getting abused like that, verbally abused, getting teased, whatnot, the whole thing.
mhm.
That stuff still kind of sticks in my mind. I hated that experience so deeply. I'll never forget it because it was really a miserable experience. So then, I got in trouble, acted out, got sent to the principal office multiple times that year in seventh grade. So their brilliant idea was, hey, we know what we'll do. Well, he can't, we're not going to send him back to, the other school. We'll send him to CCIU, which is Intermediate Union,
Mhm.
which is like an alternate ed school. So that's where they basically sent me to. And
And
basically
what
what
did you
this,
guys used to call it?
huh?
What did you guys call it?
I mean, I call it, looking back, I call it Oz. If you remember the prison show Oz, it was like Oswald State Penitentiary. That's what I called it. All right, but
Mhm.
it was called CDC or the Career Center, whatever you want to call it. That's what it was. And
Mhm.
basically, it was every school district's most problematic child. All right, every school district's unwanted child was there. Fights every day in classes, fights every day in the lunchroom. You in there trying to learn, getting called a nigger. I mean, we just start throwing hands right then and there. I guys remember one time I got suspended for 5 days. Came back to school. Kid said something crazy. Fought him. Got suspended another 5 days. So it was just
2
crazy.
weeks off of school.
2 weeks off of school. My mom, Dad, what happened now? I say, hey,
Mom, you don't understand. You don't understand, Ma.
Yeah, and I hate to say it, but I look back on it, and I wish my parents would have advocated for me a little bit better. I really do.
Right.
Instead of
Right.
falling into that trap of like what they say must be true. Okay, you
Yeah.
see me at home.
Yeah.
You see me at home. Am I acting like that all the time at home? Then what makes you think I'm acting like that all the time at school without a reason, right?
Hmm.
So, and I grew up in that era where, listen, unfortunately, right or wrong, somebody say something to you, you say something back. Somebody put their hands on you, put your hands back on them. That's just the way we
Hmm.
grew up. We were taught that. You
That's
know what
what
I
it
mean? You were
was.
taught that as kids. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. It is what it is, and or it is what it was, and it was a miserable experience, and that was from 8th grade until my junior year in high school. And by the time I
Wow.
got to my by the time I got to my junior year in high school, I was in a school. I got moved from that school to another alternate education school, and that school was so crazy. Kids was actually bringing guns to school. Not that
Oh,
they
wow.
weren't brandishing or flashing them to like the teacher, but they was
Just
flashing
in
them
case.
to the students. I remember I was in class one time. We were sitting in there. Kid said, "Don, look, lift up his shirt. He had a daggone pistol on him." I was like, "This is crazy. This is kind of
And where did
this is
where did we go
mentality."
wrong, man?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
where did
crazy.
we go wrong?
But I
Where
wasn't
did we go
thinking about
wrong in the
that.
mentality?
Yeah. Well, what turned me around, and I told that story already, that's when the Army recruiter came.
Hmm.
Okay. And I
Hmm.
finally got myself together. I said, well, I can't, I got to stop. And I got myself together to such a point that I'll never forget Mr. Mitchell, who was the principal there, called me into his office. He said, Don, what's going on? I said, what do you mean, what's going on? He said, well, you haven't, you said you completely changed. You did a complete 180. I've never seen anybody do a 180 like you were doing. You don't talk back to the teacher no more. You don't act out in class no more. What happened? And I told him, I said, well, listen, I want to get out of this school. That's what happened. I'm about to be a senior next year and I got to get out of school. I don't want to graduate from this school. That's why I said, that's
Right.
what you
I
want.
gotta get up out of here.
Yeah, that's what you want, right? You want me to do this, right? So, and that's when they sent me to Coatesville at my last year. But see,
Okay.
here's the harmful thing. The harmful thing for me
Hmm.
was having that kind of school experience. I don't have like somebody like you who might have went through school, matriculated through school. You might have a certain segment of friends that you've had for a certain amount of time because
Hmm.
you was in class with them. You went to school with them. When you go to a
Hmm.
school system like that, you don't have that. A, because the kids that you go to school with aren't even in your neighborhood. They're in a whole other part of the county. So you don't see
Hmm.
these people once you go get out of school. All right. So
Hmm.
you don't get a chance to build these relationships. And it's crazy because the kids that did go to my school or did live in my neighborhood, they're like, well, where you be at all day? And they didn't understand the concept of where I was
Hmm.
even at. I had to make up a lie. I would always make up a lie. Oh, I'm in Votech. I wasn't going to no daggone Votech, but I didn't want them to know that I was in basically a nut house school. That's where they had me.
Right.
I'm telling you, I'm just that's what I felt like. Oh, it's a nut
Right.
house school.
Yeah, it's
You
a
know,
Bellevue High.
Bellevue High, bro. It was crazy. It was like something
Right.
worse, 10 times worse than Welcome Back Kotter. It was
Mm.
crazy. But like you said earlier in the podcast, I don't feel like they diagnosed us correctly.
No.
I don't know, like if I had ADD or ADHD or whatever my issue was, whatever it is,
Hmm.
I wasn't
Hmm.
being, handled properly. And then
Right.
that lack of black faces in the classroom, a teacher's aide would have been great at some point during that experience. All right. Didn't have one
Right.
of those. And
Mm.
that's pretty much it,
Okay.
man. So but
I
yeah,
got you.
that was my experience, with busing, and it took me down a wormhole, bro, to my junior year in high school.
No, no, and that's what this is about, man. Because I'm sure a lot of our audience out here can relate to being bussed out of their neighborhood and
Mm-hmm.
going into an unfamiliar part of the city that we weren't privy to. Because, like I said, we growing up, your community, your neighborhood was your world, man. So to venture out from that, I laugh at we me and Princess ride somewhere, and I go and it's somewhere in the suburbs, say we got to go to a certain store or whatever, right? It might take 10, 15 minutes down. I used to tell Princess about, yo, I thought we were going out of town when I was a kid when we made this ride.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? Because it was so far away from the city where we didn't see any black people. We didn't even see, we didn't see a lot of things we were familiar with in our surroundings. But now you look at it and it's like, it's only down the block. Because your world is so small. So when you get thrown into a situation, especially in education, where you're in unfamiliar territory, that can be detrimental. It can be very, very easy to go off track. And, this is where the home comes in, because no matter where you are, you're supposed to learn and you're supposed to do what you do. But mom and dad don't understand that because we're talking about our parents who were from probably born in the 30s, 40s.
Hmm.
Okay. So they went to school in predominantly black institutions, so they never got bused. Their closest experience to being with busing would maybe be a job somewhere where they had
Hmm.
to work around a bunch of white folks. But by then, we're talking about money. We're not talking about academia. So yeah, it's a little different. But now with our busing, and we're talking about the generation now, like I said, Princess, who graduated from a school that had white folks, black folks, Latino folks, Indians, Middle Easterners, Asian. You understand? So now that's the America that Princess is going out into. So it was a wonderful thing at that school that she was exposed to, different cultures and different people. So now she's at a college where now that won't be a shock to her to have an Indian classmate or somebody on her team, that's from another country or from the Middle East or, a suburban white person from rural New York or what have
Hmm.
you like that. So I think it served its purpose and I'm very grateful for it. But then again, parental involvement is the key to success in any school. I don't care about administration, I don't care about teachers. When they have a group of parents who ain't taking no shorts and really emphasize how important the education of their children are, that school system listen. They listen.
That's
They have
that's
no choice.
absolutely right. That's absolutely right. And so, the problem in single parent households sometimes are in the cities is, maybe one parent can't make it to everything. They trying to
I
put
gotta work.
they trying to put a
I
roof
gotta
on your
work.
head. They trying to put clothes on your back. They trying to put food on your table. So
There you go.
it's that kind of reality. They don't got time to, you know, come down there and complain about every little thing like maybe parents in another more affluential school district can do. You know what I'm saying?
That's right. Or
So
just a single or just a double parent household. Doesn't
exactly.
matter where you live.
That's right.
Double parent household because we showed up all the time. My wife, of course, works 12-hour shifts. So there have been a lot of times where, yo, babe, I'm tired. I ain't gonna be able to make it. Don't worry, I'll be there. You understand? I might be working overtime. Babe, I gotta work this overtime. I got it. I'm going. So there was never a grandparent, an auntie, an uncle in our place. It was either my wife, me, or both of us.
Yep.
Okay, so that school system understood that, respected us, respected our daughter, and she's on to do great things because of parental involvement. And definitely credit to the school system, no question that she was in. Okay,
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I think we covered a lot here tonight. I thought we, covered some good things. And the
absolutely.
main thing I think that I want to leave people with is that, if you have as you think about our back to school talk tonight, parents don't underestimate your role in your children's education. You play
Hmm.
a big time role in education, not just their education, but really their whole school experience, whether that's, class, their sports, all of that. Show up, be there as much as you can, and, get involved, man. Let your
Yeah,
voice be
make yourself
heard.
known.
That's
Yeah,
right.
make yourself known because the squeaky wheel gets the oil.
All the time.
Because like I said, we show up. And once the administration understood that the Hickses would show up, any issues for Princess went away magically,
That's right.
you know? So
Hmm.
yeah, man. Yeah, so party people, listen, next show it's gonna be a treat. It is going. I was thinking about it this whole podcast. I'm like the cast of characters we're gonna have on there, just throwing about this football thing because Thursday you said right, Don? Thursday's the first game. Next
Next
Thursday,
Thursday, yeah.
who's
Next
playing?
Thursday.
Who are they?
Kansas City and Detroit.
You know what?
It's a good
That's not a
game.
bad that's not a bad game
Oh,
considering what Detroit. And my favorite receiver, Amon-Ra St. Brown, my favorite boy. Don't touch him in the draft, y'all. I'm getting him again. But anyway, Kansas City and Detroit. Yeah, man, that will be interesting. I'll be tuning into that. And then, of course, the official football season starts the 11th, right? September 11th, right?
That's right. I guess
Wow.
it would have to, yeah. College football
Yes.
starts this weekend, so I don't know if you got a college
Don't
team
care
out
nothing
there.
about it. Don't care nothing about it.
That's kind of how I am. Well, yeah, that's how I am basically.
No,
Yeah.
no. I'm postseason college football. You know what I
Okay.
mean? I mean, because back in the day, I would follow it, no question, from beginning to end. Because like I said, 80s baby. So of course I would follow the Penn States, the Miamis, the Oklahomas, the Nebraskas, the teams that were dominant in the 80s, especially the early 80s in my high school years. But now, listen, the only game that I'll pay attention to is the Oklahoma Texas game. And that's only because we have a reunion every year as Navy guys down in Dallas. Don, are you going to make that this year or no?
I haven't even seen this Tim share any information about it.
Well, Rob sent out a text about hotel rooms, but
What?
that's as much as I know.
What are the dates?
I don't know.
I'll look on.
I don't know.
We actually talking about during the show. I'll check it out though.
I'm sorry, y'all. But anyway, yeah, we have a Navy reunion in Dallas that we're doing annually for the Texas Oklahoma game because one of our shipmates belongs to a social group in Oklahoma. Our brother Tim Bartee, the Barteezy, and he invited us down to that for a few years. So myself and a bunch of the shipmates went down there, and it was a wonderful time. Just a lot of smack talk and things like that during the game. I wear a Texas hat and shirt, and I'm from New York, so I have no dog in the fight. And I just go to agitate, but it's a really wonderful time. And yeah, so I'm interested in seeing who will go this year. So yeah, Don. So yeah, like I said, reach out to Rob or yeah, if you look at our group text, he did send something out last night about the rooms and things like that.
Yeah,
Because
okay.
you know how Rob is, man. Rob's got to be a part of things.
So that's the social group he's part of is the 405 boys. So shout out to
405 boys. There you go. Shout out to 405 boys out of the Tulsa area in Oklahoma. And speaking of Rob, we're gonna put you on blast right now. We're going to ask. This is Don and I, two former champions of the CG32 Fantasy Football League, that you just maintain a gentlemanly like approach this year, because what happens is some people talk stuff and it works for them. You're one of the people that it doesn't work for, so just be humble, man.
Yeah, stay humble.
Yeah, because you notice he's the only one, Don, who goes and does a team critique after the draft is done.
Yeah. And I also want to shout out Rob because I asked Rob to come on next week and speak about the AFC North, and he said, I don't know nothing about that. I said, well, you live in Cincinnati, you don't know about the Bengals?
What are you talking about?
He only wants to come on and talk about the Packers because he's a homer. So it's okay.
Yeah,
it's
well,
okay,
that's
bro.
fine too. That's fine too. But like I said, party people, please tune in to the next show. It is going to be wild because I am going to verbally bludgeon Don.
Me?
Yeah, you.
Yeah. Bludgeon me for it?
Yeah, because like
what
I said,
reason?
man, because
why?
I love you. You know how I do, man. I love you. You know I am not one who discriminates in beating up people.
Listen, Ray's gonna be on. Winnie, you got other people that you got to deal with. We on the same team now, buddy. Remember that.
Okay, I'm sorry.
We're on the same team.
Let me retract my last statement.
Exactly.
I'm such a vicious competitor.
That's right.
No one is my friend when it comes to fantasy football, even my podcast partner. You know what I mean?
Oh, fantasy. That's something different. Yeah, we talking about regular.
That's what we're talking about. I'm not talking about bludgeoning you as a person. You my man, 50 grand. But that fantasy football thing.
Oh yeah, no doubt. That's what we got to. Because I gotta get at least $250 wins this year. That's what my whole goal is. If I don't, I'll tell you, it's not gonna be a good year.
No, not at all. But yeah, like I said, Get all the brothers to come on, man. I think it'll be a great show. So please, people, tune in next time, especially you football fans. And guess what? Non-football fans, because
You go
I
for
think
fun.
most of the banner would be based on insults and character character assassination. No doubt, no doubt. Yeah, man. Great show, my brother.
All right, bro.
Uh Appreciate you, man. Let's try to bring some, music in here. And like I said, you guys tune in next time because like I said, from now on, Don and I are definitely gonna be having guests on and things like that. So I think it'll be a good thing. I think
Yeah,
we'll, expand this thing and yeah, I think it's gonna be a dynamite situation. So you guys, tune in, like, subscribe,
that's right.
alert. What else, Don? What else you talking about? I'm sorry.
Follow, hit that bell.
Hit
Hit
that
that,
bell.
yeah, hit that alert bell and make sure you follow us and share. Most importantly, share the podcast. People share the podcast.
Yeah. I mean, because I don't think I think people are just keeping them to themselves.
Yeah, what's
You know
up
what I
with
mean?
that?
How
I don't want to listen. I don't want to talk about our listening, but y'all can't be selfish. Y'all gotta start sharing this stuff now.
I think so. I think so. All right. Well, since the show's not, since it's not that dope, since they blown up, we about to do something else right now.
Like the way this is going down.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. I think we need some extra. So, yeah, I think that's it. So we're gonna have a good time tonight.
What we got? What's that? House music?
Come on, jump up, freak a hustle, do what you want, remove every muscle.
Ain't no time for playing around. Only one thing to do when you hear this sound.
All right, for the Underway Podcast, I'm Mike, the Golden Voice of People's Choice, for my partner,
Don 100% Anderson.
Awesome. We're going to sign off before we get these copyright, get sued. Peace, y'all.
Peace.